Facebook Live. My name is Sarah Edwards. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I come to you guys live every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 to show you a fun new project. So hopefully you guys had a great day. I did. I was able to get all of the Christmas decorations down. I haven't put Valentine's Day up just yet. I might do a little bit of winter before putting the Valentine's Day stuff up, but it is in the process now. It is all sitting in the house waiting for my husband to bring out to the garage so he can put it away. So hopefully you guys are getting things done around your house. Many of you guys are still on your your winter break. So hopefully you're taking advantage of that and crafting. I was able to get out here a little bit this morning, and then I had a bunch of errands to do. So anyway, if you're just logging on, say hi so I know you're here. So today's card, the sentiment I chose, it says, "Nothing fancy, just love." And it's actually kind of a fancy card. So the sentiment really doesn't match the card, but I really liked the sentiment of nothing fancy, just love, because we all need to send that. And I actually thought it would be kind of funny just to stamp that sentiment on a piece of our basic white cardstock and send it in the mail and literally have nothing fancy on it. I might do that to a couple of my friends just for giggles. But anyway, good evening, Valerie. Welcome. I am going to go ahead and scoot you over, and we are going to play with some fun new products. So this is one of the new items that is coming out starting January 4th. I believe the date is, or it's January 6th. I think it's the 4th. It's something fancy. And we have a set similar to this with the matching dies, but I should have brought the other set over. It cuts out the sentiment exactly, and I loved these dies because I love layering. I love layering dies. They are so much fun. So you get 3 different designs, and one of them has 3 layers, so you could really layer that guy up. And this one, I'm going to show you how to use it, and this one we're going to cut it down to make it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to show you that as well. But this is a fun new stamp set. I loved this one. I didn't forget your birthday. I just am stretching out the celebration. I literally thought that was like the perfect sentiment. And it has the happy birthday and the congratulations, and this die would fit both of those. So this is a super fun set. So that is what we're going to be playing with tonight. Oh, I should leave these out because we're going to be using these 2 pieces. And I did do a video this morning showing you how I put my stamp sets and dies together. So if you haven't watched that, definitely it is on my YouTube channel. You can go back and watch it. I am missing one because it's on my block because we're going to be using that tonight. But that is how I store all of my stamps. Let me bring in the paper. Good evening, Mary, Stephanie, Debbie. Welcome. So let me bring in the paper we're going to be using. And I know I say this a million times that Stampin' Up's paper is absolutely amazing, and it definitely is. It is so much fun, and it is the best quality I've ever worked with. So this pack is the Flowers and More 12 by 12. It's a hostess set. So if you're wondering how you get this, you can get this with, if you place a $150 order, you can definitely get this, or you can host a class. So I do host classes in my studio, or I can pack everything up and bring it to your home. So any way you want, if you want this pack of Designer Series paper, that's the only way to get it. But the paper is so beautiful. I love the bright and the bold colors. Look at that. It is just so fun. And it's double-sided, so we're going to play with a little bit of that today, the double-sided part of it. We're actually using this piece in card class. Actually, a couple of these pieces we're using in card class. But it's so fun, so bright, so cheery. So that's the set we're going to be playing with. And it is a mega set. You get 4 of each design. So you can make loads and loads of cards. Good evening, Margot and Bev. Welcome. Thank you for joining. It's still not up on my Facebook. I really don't know why it takes so long to get on my iPad, but who knows. So let me bring in the cards we're going to be playing with. So these 2 are cut from using 2 pieces of our designer series paper, and I'm going to show you how to cut them to get them to look like this. And I just wrapped some of our ribbon around and put the little nothing fancy, just love. And that's how I was showing you or telling you earlier that we're going to cut these to get that nice border around it. So that is what we are going to be playing with. Oh, I think I see it live now. So we are good to go. Good evening, Lisa. Okay, perfect. I think we are good. So let me bring in the cart or the supplies that you're going to be needing. So I have a piece of our basic white, and this is this is 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it right in half at 4 1/4. So I'm just going to take that and fold that in half. Give this a nice good crease. And it looks like the dimensions that are up there are not correct. So I did contact the company that I'm working with to see how I can change that. So I will update it after the live, but the descriptions that are up there are not correct. I just noticed that. And then you're going to need 2 pieces of designer series paper, and this is 3 3/4 by 5. And you do want 2 pieces, and we're going to cut them at the same exact time. And then you can pick whichever coordinating cardstock matches the designer series paper that you want to use. I have Tempting Trope. I always say that. Tahitian Tide, and this one is Parakeet Party. So those are the 2 that I have, and both of these measure 4 inches by 5 1/4. So we're going to set those aside, but we're going to play with the designer series paper first. So we have our 2 pieces, and you can have 2 different pieces if you want. I chose to do the same, so it would look, it would just be the opposite on each one of them. The trick is you're going to take one of them and you're going to flip it over. So you want it to look like this, and you flip it over, it's the same. So you want one piece facing the wrong direction. So we're going to line those up. We're going to bring in our paper tool or our paper cutter, and we're going to slide this in, and it really isn't tragic on where you cut this. I'm not going to give you a specific cut line. So you just want to leave a little bit on this end, and you want to leave some on this end. So that looks pretty good to me. I'm just going to chop that off. Pull it back through one extra time just to make sure you cut through both pieces. So this is now what you're left with. So can you see where I'm going with this? That is going to fit there, and this piece is going to fit there. Kind of wonky, right? But kind of cool. So we're going to just start with one piece now. We'll start with this one. So this is the side that I want facing up on my card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to line this up. And if you don't have any tear tape, you can definitely use Scotch tape. You just want something to hold this together so it's easier to line up on your layering piece. So I'm going to line that up, put a smidgen of tear tape right there. And, sorry, got a text message. My kids should be watching my Facebook Live, but they are text messaging me. And I am going to put a couple extra pieces on the ends, and I'll tell you why in a second. I'm going to get that as close to the edge as I can. There we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull the 2 sides off, and I'm going to flip this over because I want to look at the colors that we're going to be doing. And this one I think I'm going to do the Tahitian Tide. So this is why I said you want to add that extra piece to it, because when we flip this over, I'm trying to cover up that seam. Well, I didn't get my tear tape long enough, but that's okay. So now we'll just move on to the second thing you should do. Grab a mini glue dot, and we're going to put that a little bit higher. Oh, and I did it on the wrong end, but we need it on that end as well. There we go. So now our ribbon will stick to it. There we go. Perfect. And I had to have chosen the smallest ribbon we have, the thinnest ribbon. I think it might be a tad bit easier if you had a little bit, and my finger stuck to it, a little bit wider of a ribbon to work with. But we're going to make this one work. There we go. So now our ribbon is attached. We can go ahead and bring in our card base, some adhesive, and we're going to glue this down. I'm not going to take this piece off. I'm just going to leave that on. It's not tragic. But you do want to kind of make sure you get the edges pretty good because the ribbon might try to pull it up a little bit. So I'm literally going to come over here and make sure all of that is covered. So now we can, I'm going to stand on my tippy toes to make sure this is lined up. Even though we use the green glue, because there's a smidgen of tear tape on the back, you're not going to have any wiggle room. Once that tear tape hits, it is down forever. So there you go. Is that not the cutest thing? And it is so easy to put together. So now we can take and glue this to our card base. There we go. And now all we have to do is the sentiments. These cards went together so fast. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to bring in a piece of scratch paper and I forgot the piece of Tempting Turquoise. I think I was supposed to use that on the other one, but that's okay. We are going to make it work. So I cut this out to use the Tempting Turquoise on the other. Actually, we'll just go ahead and use this one. I'll show you the trick on the other card. Okay, so I went ahead and stamped. I didn't forget your birthday. I'm just stretching out the celebration. This was supposed to be the second card, but I kind of messed up a little bit. But that's okay. Nobody will know. I did the wrong one first. I'm going to put some adhesive on the back. We'll layer this together. I want to flip this over and grab some dimensionals. And I have a few of the edges on here, so I am just going to go ahead and use those. Let me trim some of these. Do you guys use the edges of your dimensionals? Don't let those go to waste. There we go. Peel these off. Oh, that one was already off. And now you can put this really wherever you want. You could put it in, I think I'm just going to put it up here. And then the original card I did, I just tied a knot around the ribbon. But I was working on card class and I was going to use this ribbon and I tied a bow and cut it off and didn't end up using it. So I thought, I'll just put a bow on here. So there you go. That is how quick and easy these cards are to put together. So let's do the original one that I wanted to do first. So this is the side that I want facing up. So I'm going to flip this over, line this up. Grab some tear tape. And I like to start in the center first. Just kind of gives me a little bit more flexibility with it, knowing that the center is at least together. And I'm going to come down here and be a little bit smarter and put the tear tape long ways. So when I put the ribbon on, it will attach. So peel this off, and I have my Parakeet Party. Line that up, flip it around, and look, it stuck because I had the tear tape on the right side. Trim that off. Flip that around. Perfect. Okay, so let's glue this down. And then I will bring out the mini embossing machine and show you what I was talking about, making these dies a little bit smaller. So I did go extra on the glue right on the ribbon. Definitely stand on your tippy toes to make sure it's all lined up. That looks pretty good. Glue this to our card base, and then I will do the sentiments. This card definitely will get done pretty quick. We will not be on our live for the whole 30 minutes. Okay, so that's done. So let me scoot that over. And now let's bring in our scratch basic white and our scratch parakeet party. I do have my ink right here. And I am going to use Nothing Fancy, Just Love. So I'm going to ink this up. And I'm going to stamp it kind of in the center. And it's okay it's not even because we're going to cut that out. I'm going to bring in my mini embossing machine. Do you guys all have the mini embossing machine? It is so convenient. So I'm going to set this in, and I'm going to bring in the die. And I do have a piece of my Post-it note stickies, just so it doesn't wiggle. And I'm going to line this up because I didn't stamp that very straight. So that looks pretty good. Put that on. Sorry, my arm is in the way. Put this on top. And then run this through. There we go. And while I have my embossing machine out, wouldn't you know my paper is a little too wide, so we're just going to chop that in half. And I want to cut a piece of the parakeet party. Perfect. Let's set this aside so it doesn't fall on the floor. And now I'll show you the little trick. Well, if I can get this little guy off. There we go. So what I did is I brought in my trimmer. You could cut freehand this as well. I wanted a super straight line. So I'm just going to line this up just so the part of the Y doesn't get cut off. That looks pretty good. There we go. And we're still going to use the trimmer, so I'm just going to set it to the side so it's out of the camera. And I want to bring in some adhesive. I am using the Seal Plus. The regular would work as well. I just noticed when I was prepping for this, if you don't let the Tombow dry, it kind of shifts a little bit. So I wanted something that was super permanent and it would adhere right away. So I'm going to set that right in the center. Bring in your trimmer again. And we're just going to kind of line up so it's a nice even edge. Here we go. So if your sentiment is too small for the size of your die, you can definitely cut it to make it fit. And now we're going to bring our card back in, and I'm going to pop it up right in the corner. And you could really use this for something else as well. You might need to cut the basic white piece down a little bit more, but it'll work perfectly. Grab your dimensionals. And I think I want a couple of the little tiny ones right on the edge. It's not big enough for 4, but it's a little too big for just 2. And you can line that up. There you go. And let's bring in just, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches of ribbon. And I'm going to come in here and give this a knot. That was a little too long, but that's okay. Oops, I should get my good scissors out to cut ribbon. So there you go. And the one thing I like about this is you can come in and fray the edges. You can frame as much or not at all. I kind of like that. And if you feel like your ribbon is a little too wobbly on the inside, you can grab a mini glue dots and kind of roll it back on itself because this is a little bit thinner of a ribbon. Kind of make a little ball out of it and put it right underneath your knot. And then your ribbon will stay intact. So there you go. That is how quick and easy these cards are to put together. And it's just a different way to use your designer series paper, and you're seeing both sides, even though I don't think many people would know that this is what's on the back side of this, but it's just a fun, different way of being creative with your card making. So there you go. Hopefully you guys can see those. It's all in the camera okay. So hopefully you guys enjoyed your live tonight. Thursday, I will be live again at 7, and I will have another fun project for you. If you are in Arizona, even if you're not in Arizona, you can definitely get the card class that is January 7th is our card class, and I've already designed it, and I just need to start prepping it. If you wanted to go, that is an option, or if you are in the Valley, you can definitely sign up to come to card class. If you guys need anything, please feel free to reach out. If not, I will see everybody on Thursday for another live. Have a good evening. We'll chat soon. Bye-bye.